Well, this week on the Everything Real Estate Show, we have my friend, Mr. Leonardo, with us from Remax Capital Diamond in Windsor, and he's going to share to us a whole bunch of stuff from moving here from Toronto, starting a real estate career from scratch in an area where he didn't know a ton of people. We're going to talk about investing in properties, whether it was renting, flipping, then starting a family and raising kids and managing your work-life balance. And there's a hidden tip in there for realtors that didn't know that you could sync your showings into your calendar on your phone, and some really good overall conversations. So I'm excited for you guys to hear this one this week. My name is Cody Kraus, and I'm a real estate broker owner that's obsessed with everything real estate. Investing, building, selling, developing, farming, you name it. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, and I've learned a ton through trial and error, and I've met some of the coolest people ever. This is a show where I invite these people on to talk about their experiences and mine, plus everything else real estate. Let's go. All right. Well, welcome back to the Everything Real Estate Show, everybody. Today, I have an awesome guest with me, and I'm excited for the conversation. Mr. Mario Leonardo of Windsor is joining us, and we're happy to bring to you guys a great discussion. This is going to talk about real estate career, work-life balance, starting a business or a sales career in a new area, a whole bunch of stuff like that. So for anybody that doesn't already know you, Mario, who is Mario?
Well, first off, thank you, Cody. Quick prelude. Cody and I met maybe about 5-6 years ago, where
Something like that.
I asked him to co-list a property. Didn't know anyone, but in Kingsville. But I always saw this guy sign, so I called him. He finally returned my phone call.
As a shot.
Yeah. But I can say we've become very, very good friends.
Yep.
Looked up to him in real estate, and super happy to be here. Found out that he was 10 years younger than me. Didn't like that because he was super successful and I was just some punk kid starting out. So thank you for very, very much for having me. This is, I look forward to any time that I get to spend with you, and especially to be on your podcast.
Oh, likewise.
Who is Mario? So if you were asking my mother, it'd be Mario. Who's Mario? But who is Mario? 45 years old, soon to be, so middle-aged, father of two boys, 14 and 12. Husband to my wife of 16 years. And 7 years ago, I decided I wanted to be a realtor in a city where I didn't know anybody. So
Was it only 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 years ago. Maybe 8. 2017, whatever that is.
Yeah, it checks out. Yeah. Maybe 8 years ago, 8 years ago.
So, that's Mario in a nutshell.
Cool. And so kind of the shots fired at me there. Mario reached out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mario reached out a couple times for advice, and I wasn't thinking that he was necessarily doing it in a friendly way. And when I finally did return his phone call, he extended an olive branch to me and asked me to help him with some business. And so here I was thinking that he was trying to pry information out of me to compete against me. And he really just wanted some help. And he brought me into it, and I was like, man, what a jerk I was. Because here, a guy is reaching out for help, and I'd shut him down. Moral of the story there is, if you get an opportunity to help someone, regardless of what company they're at, do it, and it can lead to a great friendship.
For sure.
I'll leave it there. So you kind of alluded to, I decided to, get my real estate license and sell property in an area that I, didn't know anybody. Why don't we start right there? So number one, why don't we talk about why did you want to get into real estate? And then we're really going to dive down, I guess, why did you want to do it in an area where you didn't know anyone, where are you from, all that kind of stuff, and then advice that you would give to people in that regard. So why'd you get into real estate sales?
So little background story, born and raised in Toronto, pretty much worked one job my whole life. Started unloading trailers during university to pay for university for a company, then managed one of their retail stores, then went on to pretty much partner up with someone and went into, he had 7 retail stores that I managed. So knew a lot about leasing.
Yep.
Some punk kid wanted to lease a building. So landlord was like, who is this? So we had to learn quickly on leasing. So we did that. So that's where my first inkling of real estate came, was trying to negotiate leases. And then secondly, in Toronto, we had the opportunity to flip a few houses and to have a couple rental properties when we were younger and we were first starting out.
Cool.
And just enjoyed real estate. Lucky enough, when we moved here, Lindsay's family's in real estate. So had some mentorship and guidance through that process, which definitely which helped. Wasn't quite a rookie because I had a couple people that mentored in the background, right?
Yep. So commercial leasing is the wild, wild west because like in Ontario, if you're a residential tenant or landlord, there's only one form you can use. So there's really nothing hidden in it because it's mandated that you have to use that form. Commercial leases, you can put anything you want into a commercial lease. And then the enforceability is very, very much contract law. There's no landlord-tenant board, right? So with a commercial lease, you're behind on your rent. Landlord
2 days, 3 days, whatever's dictated in the lease,
lock
shut the doors. Yeah.
And you can structure it a number of different ways. And I would imagine that you guys probably saw this if the business was operating in the GTA, is you might sign a lease 1 year and then all of a sudden prices change substantially for lease rates or purchase prices or property values over the 3 or 5 or 7 years of the lease term. Then all of a sudden, like I've actually seen it where one of the biggest assets a business can have is the lease terms that they were originally negotiated into and the length remaining on those leases. Is that kind of the opportunity?
It's very, very true. So usually your rent is dictated for 5 years, right? Usually. Then there's terms, of course, where you get to renegotiate your rents. But
or even pre-negotiate those on the initial
6 months before or whatever. Yeah. But sometimes there is a huge gap, right? And like from when I started in 2017 to now, just like housing prices, lease rates have increased significantly. So people are in for a shock, right?
Yeah. And so you mentioned that you got into a couple rentals, flips. Yeah. How did that come about? Kind of by chance, or you got the idea?
2008, the market tanked.
Yeah.
We wanted to upgrade. Didn't want to sell for a loss or close to a loss. So we decided to just have a rental. And then we're like, hey, you can actually make money doing this. And yeah, that's how it came about.
So it was HGTV before HGTV?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So
cool. Now, so you moved from Toronto to Windsor. So obviously Lindsay's family was from Windsor.
Yep.
She was there with you. You guys met in Toronto and then
we met here. I had a temporary store here.
Oh, okay.
We met. Became friends, then
romantic.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, she asked me to a U2 concert and I said, yeah, for sure. I love them.
It's funny. So then ended up coming back to Windsor from Toronto after you lived in Toronto for a while. Obviously her family's here. And did you work when you moved here initially, or did you say, okay, you know what, I want to try real estate right away? I've been having fun playing around with it in Toronto. And
so in Toronto, I got my license.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I think it was back before the college days. So AREA, I think I got my last 2 while I was still living here.
Okay.
Still did a little bit of work in Toronto, helping out there. And then, it was gangbusters here.
Cool. And so I guess I think one of the coolest parts of this whole podcast interview and story and everything, and I kind of told you, is the string that I want to pull on is you moved to another area and you decided to get into a sales/business career where you didn't know anyone. And the people that you did know were your family.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will go, okay, well, his family's in real estate, so it'll be fine. But real estate's a little different because you could get mentorship from them. But in a sense, you're competing with them, right?
100%.
Because if your family's like, well, I'm ready to move. Okay, well, why don't you call Mario? Well, he actually doesn't really know the area.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Like, I
got 2 other family members.
I don't want to say
from.
0, but probably 0 came from her side of the family.
Yeah.
Her friends helped. Those were great referral sources. But moving somewhere, starting a new business seems really scary. Like looking back at it, I don't know what the heck we were doing, like why we did that, but it worked out. The end of the day, I'm a worker, right? Yeah. I might not be the smartest person in the room. I might not be the strongest person in the room, but I will outwork you.
You're probably the strongest person in the room.
So I'm in the wrong room, but I'll outwork you. So if that means waking up at 4:30, I wake up at 4:30, start my day and get it done. So looking back, probably a silly thing to do, but it all worked out.
No, I'm obviously not silly. You love what you're doing, right?
Love it.
And you haven't looked back. And you know what? Maybe I want to keep pulling on that thread even more. So what advice might you have to someone where they said, I'd love to do this. I'd like to take this chance in my career. Or I've been thinking of opening this business, but I'm not sure how it'll work out. Because a lot of times in a sales career, especially when you're selling to the general public, not to another business, a lot of times it's about who you know. So your network here wasn't huge. It wasn't non-existent, but
minimal.
It was
minimal.
Minimal. tips for people or like encouragement that you could give them maybe in that regard?
Yeah. So my first 2 years, I probably took out every lawyer, doctor, accountant that I could get my hands on out for lunch. I don't even know what my bills were.
To just network like
Yeah,
crazy.
just network like crazy. COIs are still 90% of my business. My referral partners are my
COI,
income.
center of influence.
Yeah, center of influence. Sorry, they're the ballpark of my income.
Okay, cool. So show people that you care. Show them that you know what you're talking about.
Yep.
And work hard.
And I didn't know what I was talking about when I came here, because when they're like,
the
oh yeah, the
honesty
corner of Olette and Tecumseh, I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But before I had a client, I would just book showings. Didn't know where I was going. Map quested them, looked at the house by myself. Went into a lot of the condominiums because I wanted to learn condos, because it's easy, because every house is different, right? But if you know a condominium, you know the facilities, you know where it's located, you sort of become a little bit of an expert, right? And if you become an expert in the condominiums, you can make a great living. So I booked a lot of showings for clients I didn't have. And my first year, that's how it was spent. Booking showings for non-existing clients just to know areas and buildings, and taking people out for lunch.
Cool. So expanding your influence was obviously a huge help. Then you mentioned just work like crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you didn't know what you were talking about, but you took the time to get to know what you were talking
Correct.
about really quick. And obviously you wouldn't have misled anybody and said, I know everything about this area, right?
No. I'm not a fake it till you make it sort of guy, but if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer.
Yeah.
And I think people, clients appreciate that, right? You're not
For sure they do.
feeding them BS. You're actually, listen, I don't know the answer, but I will get you the right answer, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, these are two quotes I've shared a lot, but one was told to me by a gentleman that owns a Keller Williams in London, and it was called the Professional's Creed. And he said that I know what I know, and I know what I don't know, and the things that I don't know, I know someone who does.
Yeah, that's great.
Right. So in other words, don't mislead someone and tell them that you do know, but just let them know that you know someone that can help you get to know what you need to know. And the other one is from Chris Leader, who does realtor training.
Yep.
He was down here last year, and he shared a story about there was this young realtor, and the guy had great looks. He was tall. He was charming. His dad owned a huge company in town.
Hate those guys.
And he's like, outside looking in, this kid had everything to make a great sales career, but he was lazy, right? He just didn't come into the office. And so his saying that he always says after that was, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? Yep. And so same thing is, you might have all the natural talent in the world, but if you don't show up to work and
you got to build that wall, right? You got to lay those bricks every day, and each day you lay the brick, eventually you're going to have a really strong wall or house, right?
Yeah.
Talent will only get you so far.
Yeah.
I wish my kids would listen to me.
Yeah.
Talents only get you so far.
And then Chris finishes the story and says, you know what? Don't worry about him though. He married really wealthy, like super wealthy. He's doing fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started a new sales career, and you're an independent contractor, so it doesn't come with a huge base salary and then bonus commissions on top of that. Nope. So in all intents and purposes, even though you're doing it under a real estate brokerage and you're at Remax Capital Diamond, and they do a great job, and you're building your business under them, you're still an independent contractor of that company.
Of course.
So you're running your own business, but you're just doing it under the umbrella of someone else's. So even though outside looking in for people that maybe don't understand the real estate sales career side of it so much, it's not a typical sales career where they're like, hey, here's your inventory and your product, study it and go sell it. These are the people that might want it. It's no, I got to go out and I got to find my own customers.
The way that I put it when people ask, should I become a realtor? My first response is it's the most fantastic career to me that you can ever have. But every day you wake up unemployed.
Yep.
You have to go and find your job for that day.
Yep.
You have to find your income for that day. So yes, the paychecks could be extremely well, but you might go weeks, you might go months without one of those paychecks, right?
Yep.
And there's huge highs and there's huge lows of real estate, right? So you could be riding a high, but then you get a low, and that messes with you mentally. I don't care how strong you are as a person, it messes with you, right? And that's why like having friends in the business or that helps, right? Because you can bounce ideas and just thoughts off of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And a little bit of encouragement for the down days. And And yeah, it's
grounding on the high days, right? Because you could be flying high, but you need to be grounded too.
to be humbled sometimes. Yeah. And so there's a lot of dips and there's a lot of peaks. And so, I mean, I think the key to I guess, long and steady career in that where, you know, your clients aren't noticing that one day you're flying off the handle and the next year, cool, cucumber, whatever. It's okay. Let's focus on, you know, keeping things. Let's take emotion out of it, right? A lot of times sellers call us or buyers call us, and they might be losing their home, they might be relocating for a job, they might be pregnant, they might be getting divorced. Like there's all these things, and they're typically really high emotion scenarios. And even when it's a really good scenario, there's still a lot of emotions in it, right? So a lot of times what we get called into is to take the emotion out of it. And so if we're super emotional and reactive too, then it's not really helping the people that we're dealing with a whole lot. So
no, I think that calm, cool, collective voice definitely helps, right?
Be the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Like I think people, they smell commission breath. So they can smell commission breath. So they know that you're only in it for the sale. And the second that they see that I don't want to say this term, but you're just a used car salesman, right?
Your best interest may not be in mind if,
Correct.
you know, Mario's advising me based on making sure that commission closes versus.
Correct. Yeah.
I love when we have a home inspector and I call him the deal killer, and I've had him on the show, so I'm sure Matt would be fine with that. And it's jokingly, but I call him the deal killer because he finds everything. But the reason I keep calling Matt is like, I want my people to know if there's an issue, because then they'll be fully informed and they can still choose to go ahead or not. But if I was just in it for the commission, I would probably try and get them to, of course, you know, not go with the inspection.
Use someone else.
I'd have you put on a hat and come over and sell Mario as the home inspector. But no, it's...
But that just goes to us as an agent, right? Like longevity in this business, you need to be that person, right? Anyone can come here and make a lot of money if they talk really fast. But will they make that money long-term? Probably not.
No. And I mean, in a industry that's built on referrals and cooperation with each other, if you're acting in your own best interest and not giving any attention to anybody else's, it's going to show through quick and it's going to spread. Yeah. So, okay. So, dad of two almost teenage boys.
No, 14 turning 15, 12, 11 turning 12. So one teenager who's 6'2". He's just now taller than me.
Yeah.
And then one little guy who's going to be 12 in December.
So two busy boys, right?
Very busy,
we got a marriage. We got a business that's, 7-8 years old now, and that's doing really well. And I think you'd be the first one to realize you've been really blessed, and you've got some awesome clientele and repeat business, and I think it's going great. You make tons of time to go to the gym, obviously, like crazy.
So I wake up at 4:30 to go to the gym because that's my time.
Okay, so I was going to say work-life balance. Let's
5 a.m. Gym.
Yeah.
Get home, lunches for the kids, breakfast for us, kids off to school.
Yeah.
I like to be at the office by 9. My day always starts at the office. I can't work from home because I will do everything else but work.
Yep.
So I'm at the office for 9. Do my phone calls on the way to the office, paperwork, all that at the office, make more phone calls, and then showings till whenever, pick up the kids, then showings again, then go home and do it all over again.
So I guess, if anything, just put your life in your calendar as an appointment.
Yeah, without my phone, I'm done.
Book the rest of your business around your life appointments.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it, yeah. Never thought of it that way, but yeah.
So we got our gym appointment, we got our kids' lunches appointment, we got our get into the office appointment, then we book our work appointments, and then if we're
I wish Touchbase would integrate to your Google Calendar. That's one thing.
It does.
What?
Yeah, you just have to. I'll show you after.
That's life-changing. Okay.
Anyways,
I'm on the technology board at WeCar, and I didn't know this. I even asked that.
Yeah.
It does?
You just have to download a plugin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And unconfirmed, confirmed, whatever, it shows up in your calendar. So for any realtors that are watching this, you can plug your Touchbase,
That's a game changer,
which is what we use to organize our showings on properties, into your calendar on your phone.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we're doing once we get off this.
Okay, well, I'm going to charge you for that.
No problem. I bought lunch.
Yeah, appreciate that. What else do we want to talk to? What are clients buying right now on the investment side of it? Obviously, you're keen on investing yourself.
So, cap rates haven't come down enough to make a lot of investments feasible.
Cap rates or interest rates?
Sorry, interest rates haven't justified with the cap rates.
Okay.
Right? People still want a higher cap rate. Buyers still want a higher cap rate. It just doesn't make sense for them. So on the investment side, a lot of the stuff that is selling is stuff that maybe rent rolls aren't as high as they can be, but there's a little bit of lift in the rent rolls, right? If they do some work, increase the rents.
So forced depreciation,
Yeah.
we'll go in, we'll turn over the unit, put in new flooring, new kitchens, new bathroom,
Yep.
and get the building up
A lot
to
of
a higher
cash
rent
for
roll.
keys too, for tenants to leave,
Yep.
just because they are paying such low rents.
What about younger buyers right now? How are you seeing young people get into the market right now? Are they house hacking by buying a duplex and renting out one side, buying with parents, buying with friends?
So I haven't had any like buying with friends or buying with parents yet. One of my proudest times is when I help first time home buyers, and I had 2 this month, which was
Awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Because that actually that
And
makes
it's
me
2025, just for reference. People can still buy a home in 2025 as a first time home buyer.
One was under 375 and one was under 425, which is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
The first young kid did it on a single income.
Wow.
The next ones were dual incomes. But they're the first time starter homes. And what you try to tell them is this might not be your forever home. It might be a 3 to 5 year home, but it gets you in the market, right?
So set reasonable expectations and then plan to move up the property ladder in a few years.
Yep. And that's the way most people do it, right? No one usually buys their dream home as their first home. So
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe at one time. I mean, I think a lot of times we go, well, our parents were able to buy their forever home their first time around. No, we saw the house that we were raised in, not necessarily where they lived first. Like,
correct, yeah.
I know where my parents bought, 30 years ago, but they rented in a, crappy old duplex first and lived in the upper unit. And so they have their stories about that. It's just we didn't see that part. We saw what we saw once we already existed, right? Cool. So why don't we talk about maybe advice for, like, we talked to realtors or business people that want to start in a new area. And now you're kind of like the big brother around your office, right? So you said, I'm kind of almost like in a management position now where I'm the guy that...
I enjoy teaching. And I think your last host, Tim, or your last guest, was it your last guest, Tim?
A couple guests ago.
Okay.
But
So the last podcast, I apologize that I watched, he gets his joy out of mentoring. Like, he was your mentor, and that's how he gets his joy. And I can totally see that. Like, so Wednesdays we do like a learning class. So we teach, I teach maybe 45 minutes on a topic, and then it's like question and answers for the next 45 minutes. And that's when you get to see people at their best, right? So I enjoy teaching, they enjoy learning, and the conversations are amazing.
And so sharing some struggles, but then you get to share in the wins too, right?
Correct.
So kind of just like the clients that we get to, live vicariously through, almost, where we feel a big win when they finally get their accepted offer on their first time home or whatever, or if, reality sets in and maybe the market isn't now what it was when they bought and all of a sudden they lose. Like, as much as we sympathize with their wins and losses, you almost get to do that now with the newer.
And to be honest, before we even sit down, while we're waiting, because realtors are always late, waiting for the rest of the groups to come, I ask, what's your win of the week, right? So they know they're coming in and they got to think of their win of the week, right? So yeah, and it's I feel joy helping them. So
cool. So you get to live out a little bit extra through them too. Yeah. Floor's yours. Anything else that you want to talk about? I mean, you've been in real estate now 7-8 years in the Windsor, Essex area. That was coming after investing and doing some leasing, and you were in retail before that in Toronto.
I'll turn the mic. I'll turn the things around to talk to you. So, like, what makes Cody happy? So, what selfishly makes Cody happy? So you're not allowed to say my kids, my wife. What makes Cody happy?
Full throttle?
Yeah, let's go.
Full throttle.
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Like, you love to race?
Motorcycles,
really?
Boats.
Oh, couldn't get me to do that.
You name it. I was paying $3,000 a month for the insurance on my house, and I called my insurance broker, and I was like, why on earth is my house insurance policy this much money? Like, that's like 3 times what it used to be. She said, well, if you took your foot off the gas pedal on your truck, you would have a home and auto policy that was fairly reasonable, but I had to put you into a crazy high house insurance policy to get your auto rates down. And I'm like, oh,
I didn't know that about you. Wow.
Yeah.
Speed demon. Okay, good for you.
Yeah. And like you said, we're late to everything, right? That tends to be how it goes in real estate. And
We overbook ourselves for sure.
big time. So yeah, love speed, love doing things fast. Can't sit still for a second. So I always have to be doing something. So at our house, our kids will wake up in the morning and they're like, who's coming over for supper tonight? And if someone's not coming over, they're kind of like, oh, that's weird. We should probably call someone and see if, right? So it's like every night, Paige and I kind of have to sit down and go, okay, what's happening tomorrow? Like, where are you at in the morning? Can you drop these kids off here? Can you drop those kids off there?
We have 4. That's
so there's a lot of logistics. That's our second career as logistics managers within the Krause household.
and Uber drivers.
Yeah. So I love just going fast, whether it's like physically on something or in something. But I would say we like to do life really fast too. Good. Just generally a really impatient person. And the other thing I like to do is build things. So not in a handy way, not a handy person at all. But I love like improvement in general. So if we have an empty lot and, we could house people in it, or it could house a business. I love the idea of developing that. Or if we have a house that's been neglected for a very long time, can we take it and make a few changes to it that all of a sudden could make an amazing, home for a family? So I love taking something in a state of disrepair or non-existence and seeing how I can repurpose it and reutilize it for something else. So I love building. I love improving. I just don't have the gift of physically doing it with these hands. But know lots of awesome people that help me do that. So
you're like me, your toolbox is your checkbook.
Yeah. Hope this one cashes. Hope this. Yeah. So yeah, if those are two things besides, people make me happy. So awesome. Just having having conversations throughout my career, meeting new people, our faith is important to us in our household, and we try and instill that in our kids. Kids bring me a ton of joy. My family brings me a ton of joy. And I guess those would be the two other things is going fast and building things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great answer.
I didn't think that one out, but that's probably it in a nutshell.
Great answer.
So cool.
Awesome.
Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Mario Leonardo, and hope you appreciated the conversation as much as I did. And if anybody wants to follow you online, because you do some pretty entertaining stuff with your name being Mario, everything's Mario and Luigi, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Nintendo to call.
Yeah. Cool. Well, where can they follow you at?
Great question. It's mario.leonardo1.
Cool.
Instagram.
All right.
I have to think about that. I'm mid-40s, so I don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
So
thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the show, folks. Please keep in mind that this show is not offering legal, financial, or accounting advice, but rather opinions and experiences in the world of real estate from the host and the guests. If you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and share with your friends and colleagues. And if you think that there's someone that needs to be on this show, please feel free to connect them with me. Or if there's a topic that should be discussed, feel free to let me know. Thank you so much, and bye for now.